Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I tell you, getting ready to start A Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live. Just getting all my paraphernalia going and taking a minute to let myself breathe in all the wonderful energy of all these wonderful beings who probably sometimes don't always realize how fantastic and how wonderful you are. Is that true? Do you have those momentary lapses when you forget that you are like off the chain cool? You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for the question.
Right, so we're coming together so we can remember who we are together, you know. And those of you on Facebook Live, I want to welcome my mighty companions that are tuning in from all over the planet to the Course in Miracles. And so I'd like to first of all give you a chance to take a breath while I share with you the guidelines for the Course in Miracles before I get into the actual section, which is going to be called Healing as Release from Fear. So today's section from the Course in Miracles text, the Foundation for Inner Peace version, is Healing as Release from Fear. So the Course would say healing is the release from fear. So the Course in Miracles defines a miracle as a correct perception, a true perception. Sort of like if we have a correct perception, it's a miracle. If we see things in a totally loving way, it's a miracle. If we see things in a totally guiltless, sinless, innocent way, it's a miracle. And so when the Course in Miracles says miracles, it's not talking about in terms of you being able to walk water. It could be as simple as letting go of what you think someone has done to you that you're using to crucify yourself every day because they're in Hawaii partying and they don't know about it. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. I'll say that one more time. You may have some grievance against somebody that you're holding on to as hard as you possibly can, and I don't know how to break it to you, but they're not feeling it.
Right.
They don't feel it. Wherever they're at right now, they're not directly feeling it. So attacking yourself to hurt somebody else is a dumb plan.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to break that to you. Even though you can feel self-righteous, I mean, I could go through my past and think about things I think I've experienced in the past, especially relative to that being that I chose to be my father. And I could point out ways that I thought he didn't act out my script. And I could hold on to those grievances and feel really self-righteous. I'm not going to let him off the hook. He's already off the hook. He's been dead 25 years. No, longer than that, actually.
Right.
Almost like, I would say, wow, like almost 50.
Wow.
Yeah, my father made this transition when I was 23. And so we completed our contract at that particular time. Then I had a dream right after he made this transition, and he came to me in the dream, and he told me that he was doing fine, that I couldn't come where he was right now, but I was about to experience something very life-changing. And I was like, wow, because it was so real. It seemed so real. And then right after that, within a month, I discovered astrology, which I used to debunk and be very critical of, because of course I didn't judge something I didn't know anything about. That, human beings don't do that. We don't judge things we have absolutely nothing about. We don't do that. And it did turn my life around, because when it described my astrological sign, which is Sagittarius, any Sagittarius is in here? All right.
Risings. Right,
we got some risings in here. Yeah. My Sagittarius has been rising a lot in my lifetime. And it sounded just like me. And so I got into it. And then it told me that I eventually got to the realization that there was an order and a purpose and a divine plan for my experience, that I hadn't just been dropped here to kind of wing it, that there was a roadmap that I could use that didn't control me any more than the GPS controls you, but it can certainly help you get to your destination faster.
Right.
Right? That's where the chart is, right? And so that led me into learning about reincarnation, the fact that we're spiritual beings that can inhabit physical bodies many times for the evolution of our soul. Now, I'm going to say things that may be different from what you believe, but that shouldn't stop a conversation.
Right.
If you're going to talk to people who believe as you believe, you're going to cut yourself off from a lot of viewpoints that might be helpful to you, whether you agree with it or not. So I'm not concerned about whether anybody's agreeing with me at all. I'm revealing myself. I'm communicating. I'm joining.
Thank you.
Okay? It has nothing to do with I need your agreement. I absolutely don't. I promise you there's nothing you're going to say that's going to make me turn my back on my path. And I'm not going to do the same with you. What I want to do is hear what your inner self is telling you that you know in your heart and soul is what you should be doing, and it's not harmful. And I want to know how I can support you in that while still being myself. So I'm interested to know what it is you may think you want to do and how you want to do it. But what's important is to recognize that we did not create ourselves and that we have something that created us. You didn't create yourself. You didn't create yourself. Because certainly if you created yourself, you would have a better job of handling yourself and taking care of yourself and fixing yourself. You know what I'm saying? If I make something, then I'm in a better position to try to fix that thing because I made it. Notice that we're not that good at that. Also, if I bake a cake, it's okay for me to judge it because I made it. You didn't make you, so your judgment of yourself is a wrong perception, and judging me is a wrong perception because you didn't make me either, right? So when I found out that there was a divine plan for my life, and one of the first things I asked was, why was I born black?
Right.
Because it wasn't a lot of fun when I was a child in the 50s, back in the South. And then this voice said to me, oh, well, you were a slave owner.
That'll teach you.
Balance.
And then I immediately said to the voice, I had to ask. Say, wow, yeah, you whatever you give, you're going to receive because there's only one of you here. It's just one person. So it's just one being. We're one. So whatever you give out, you're going to also receive it, but you're also going to receive it from the perspective of being the receiver, since it's you, just as much as you did it from the perspective of being the giver, which is you. So you'll get the chance to receive whatever you're giving. Everybody does. They don't realize that, so life seems to be unfair.
Right.
Because when you just look at it the way it appears to be, it looks like there's perfect injustices going on all the time, but actually the universe is fair. Which means whatever pain, suffering that you're going through, there's a way out of it if you're willing to change your mind and look at things another way and realize you didn't create yourself, tune into something greater than yourself, realize you don't know how to communicate with it. Obviously, you would be following the guidance, that it isn't a separate person in the sky ruling everything that's very dysfunctional and fearful and condemning, because that's you. So stop making God in your image. Stop making God, the higher power, in the image of a man that's dysfunctional, that's full of anger and grievances and favorites. That's us. Think about it. All the attributes we point out to God is really us. I got my favorites, I punish, I like this person, I don't like that person, these are the ones going to make it, these are the ones that's not. And so I'm telling you that there's not anything that you're going through that you can't get guidance from within yourself that's available to you to use. So that's what I'm telling you. That I have no desire to be your leader. I have no desire to be your follower. I want to walk with you. I want to walk beside you to love.
Right.
I don't have, it's too slow. It's too slow trying to lead people. Right? Because I got to try to overcome all of your objections and beliefs, get you to agree with everything I'm saying, and do it the way that I'm suggesting that I'm not doing. Right? That I'm in the process of learning how to do. That sounds slow to me.
Right.
Every time, for me to say, you don't want to go to the movie with me, I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon trying to get you to go to the movie with me, sounds like a lot of work, and then you want to go to the movie with me, and we can go to the movie immediately, then it's going to be faster to go to the movie with somebody that wants to go with me. But when I didn't love myself, I called that a challenge, and that's who I focused on. Right? It was
He's the
always
challenge.
it's always the one that was the challenge. And so the truth is, all we have to do is change our perception of the way we see things, and we would change our emotional responses to everything. So happiness comes from within. Happiness never comes from anything or anybody outside of yourself. We've all heard it, but we still live as if that's not true. There's very few people that you can talk to that won't agree with you when you say happiness comes from within. You know, everybody, yes. And then they're upset because they didn't get that car they wanted. Right? 5 minutes later, after telling you happiness comes from within, I'm so lonely. I wish I had a person to fulfill me. Right after saying happiness comes from within. Right? So the Course in Miracles is saying there are only two types of emotions that we even have. That one is love and one is fear. That we either experience in peace, which is love, or conflict. That there aren't but two emotions. We call it a lot more than that. But we're only feeling fear or we're feeling love. Either we're feeling connected right now or we're feeling separate right now. That's just a fact. And how separate you feel is in direct proportion to how much you communicate and how much you feel connected to the people around you and how they don't feel like a stranger to you. And so it's only one way to get past that, primarily, which is communication. Extending to each other and letting each other be. So the Course in Miracles is about giving you a new interpretation of every single thing so that you will have inner peace. And out of that inner peace, you will hear God's guidance in you. Spirit's guidance, not Earl's guidance, not everybody else's, but your personal guidance from the divine. That sounds reasonable to me. That sounds cool to me. It's saying you're interfering with hearing your own guidance. He says, because of all the things you've learned. And so you're acting on the things you've learned, even though you should be questioning the things you've learned because it doesn't make you happy consistently. See how simple that is? Right? If I don't have any kind of peace, then there must be something that I'm telling myself that's not really true or the loving way to look at it. And emotions are nothing but beliefs that you have accepted so much that now it's your instinctive response to something, but it's just a belief that you believe so much and you told yourself so much that it's a habit now. So yes, you can control your emotions. You can control your emotions by what you're telling yourself. I used to feel like I couldn't help but feel what I was feeling. Yeah, you ever had that feeling? I just couldn't help but get upset. I just couldn't help but get angry. I just couldn't help it. I felt like I was a victim of my body. I felt like I was a victim. That's what I feel when I get sick. When my body gets sick. It's like, oh God, I got this headache. I should be able to say, go away, headache. And then if I got control over my body, the headache should go away. But it doesn't. I feel like I'm trapped in my body. And now I got to experience the pain of the headache. And the Course in Miracles has a beautiful definition of why that's so. It says, you may not believe it, but there's several reasons why. Number one, there's some payoff you're getting out of the pain that means more to you than feeling healthy. There's something about this pain that you're going through in your life that's giving you some kind of payoff that you will keep it going even though there are other ways you could deal with it. There's some kind of payoff you're getting out of it. Then that's one of the explanations it gives out of many. Then it says another reason you might be going through pain or sickness is that you're an unlimited spiritual being who is having a human experience, and you identify with your human experience, you identify with your physical body, and there's part of you that thinks you are just your physical body. That part of you is trying to convince you that it is what you are, and that you couldn't possibly be some type of unlimited consciousness, spirit, awareness that's bigger than this body. So I say I'm this unlimited child of God, and then I get a foot ache.
Yeah.
Right? So how can I be the unlimited child of God and I'm in pain? So it's a good way to fool myself into thinking that there is not another level of my existence beyond the physical body. You hear me? Yeah. Yeah. So the pain, also it says, comes from deceiving yourself, lying to yourself, or fooling yourself about something. That pain comes from self-deception. So I'm fooling myself about something. So when I feel pain now, I go, okay, Purdy, you're deceiving yourself about something. That's why you're in pain. Right now, obviously, you can't heal yourself because you tried to and you still got it.
Right.
So what you must do is rely temporarily on external healing methods. Get some Aleve or natural remedies. And that would be your symbolic gesture to show that you're willing to be healed. And since you don't believe you can heal yourself, that means you temporarily believe external things can heal you. So therefore, use an external thing because you will allow it maybe to work. So you couldn't get rid of the headache, you take a pill, or you do whatever you see it as being. Then you feel better, but it didn't make you feel better. It was the result of your decision to no longer be in pain anymore. And it just mediated that. That's why one person could take the medicine and they wouldn't feel any difference. And another person could take the medicine and they say, oh, I immediately feel better. Same medicine, why the two different results? One person was not ready to have that happen yet, and the other person was ready to have the healing happen yet. And it's not my job to judge either one of them. It's not my job to judge why that person is not healed. And then the ego part, the part that believes what the world taught us, it goes, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. But what about this? What about the little children? What about that? Da, 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 da. All of those are defenses against another way of looking at things. It's just wanting to hang on to the way everybody's already looking at it, and we already see what the result is of everybody already looking at it as if they're the victim of everything. It's the world we're in that we wish was different. So I'm not going to be different from the way that the world experiences things, which is love and fear, unless I think differently. I got to think differently if I want to have a different effect. So you can't think like, well, it's like what people want to do when they say they are ready to change or they're ready to be happy, is what they're usually saying is, show me how to stay exactly the way I am without the suffering it entails. That's what the average person means when they say, would you help me? Could you show me how I can still be full of anger, guilt, and grievances and separation and really have this wonderful love life? Can you show me how? Can you then at some level you don't have anger, guilt, and grievances? Because you're not going to have anger, guilt, and grievances and be happy. So if you're feeling happy, then temporarily maybe you're not plugging into that. And our love life sucks. Don't get me wrong. When the Course talks about love, this isn't talking about you like somebody temporarily because they're doing what you want them to do, how you want them to do it, and they're acting out your script, and they're worshiping you above everybody on earth, and so therefore you love them. That ain't no love. That's specialness. Love is unconditional. Love is inclusive. Love never harms or hurts anyone. Love is the opposite of what we do. Love would be me wanting everybody else's family to eat on Thanksgiving as much as I want my own to eat on Thanksgiving. That's love. Love isn't just me singling out my relatives and just showing them my appreciation, even though that's a wonderful thing, to the exclusion of everything and everyone else. That's not love. My family is special to me. My children are special to me. My sisters and brothers are special to me. That's why they're getting my attention. If you don't think that's true, there's some people the last place on earth they want to be is with their family on Thanksgiving. They're being thankful they're not with them. Do you hear me, brothers and sisters? Do y'all hear what I'm saying? That you don't have to agree with, you don't have to accept, you don't have to welcome. It's going to be hard to believe. It's going to be startling. The Course in Miracles is saying, if you use the ideas, you'll see the ideas are true, and nobody's asking us to analyze it. So I want you to just listen to what the book is saying, listen to what the Course is saying, then make your own interpretations and your own judgments. I trust that you're adults, and so therefore you have the capacity to accept or reject whatever you're hearing according to what your own inner self says. Is that right?
That's right.
And I would advise you to pay more attention and give more credence to what you are telling yourself than what I'm telling you. How about that too?
Yes.
Right? So don't care what your teachers, your ministers, your family, anybody says, don't put that above the truth of your own being and what your own being is telling you. Okay, cool?
Yes.
Cool? All right, so I'm going to do healing as the release from fear. I'm going to do it in plain language. I'm going to read the whole thing first. And then we're going to go back through it and clarify what the main points are that it's trying to make. And it'll also give you an opportunity to give me some feedback if you choose to.
What page is it?
It's going to be on page 23. I'm Earl Purdy. Those of you who are watching online and you're wondering, who is that ranting, raving black dude? I'm tired. I'm tired of the ignorance of my consciousness. It's just stupid. All of the separation I see and the attack and the judgment and people not loving each other because the color of their skin is different or how old they are is different. This tribal separatism is like kindergarten 101 soul growth. And I'm not a little child, so I'm not going to act like a little child. I'm not going to live my life as if I'm on the level of consciousness as a part of myself that still believes attack and judgment is the way to go. I don't believe that. I'm not going to live my life like that, and I'm not going to act like that. And I want to join with other people who share that same attitude. But I'll never draw them to myself if I'm hiding who I am because I need the approval of people who don't matter to me. I get comments all the time. I have over 1 million views of my classes. So of course I get comments from people who time to time don't agree with me or don't look at, it's really not that they're not agreeing with me. They're not agreeing with their interpretation of what I've said. Did y'all hear that? Right. They don't even know me. It's like they're interpreting what I'm saying and then they're responding to their interpretation of what I said. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what everybody's doing in the conversation that you're having with them. Everything you say to them, they're interpreting what you're saying based on the meaning that they're giving it. So they're responding to you not based on the meaning you're giving it. They're responding to you based on the meaning they're giving it. So if I say I love you, and then you immediately become afraid, that's because that's the meaning you've given love. You don't know what I mean when I say I love you. You only know what that means to you. And then you respond emotionally according to the meaning you've given it. I'm going to keep checking in. Does this make sense? Yes. Okay, so your emotional response is coming from your interpretation and your meaning. So if you want to change your feelings and emotions, you have to change the meanings you're giving to everything around you so you'll have another emotional response. Right. If I step on your foot and you think I did it on purpose, then you may respond with anger. I say to you, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your foot there. And you immediately drop it. In most cases, you go straight from anger to, oh, okay, oh, that's okay. Oh, you didn't mean to do it. Notice that was an instantaneous emotional shift. And so don't say you can't change your feelings on a dime. You can change your feelings on a dime. Those feelings you can't change are interpretations you won't let go of. And you call it your pattern. It's my pattern. No, that's an interpretation of judgment that you have about something that you're willing to hold on to no matter what because there's some kind of payoff you're getting out of it.
Thank you.
I got into metaphysics and new thoughts and universal law, which said universal law says it works for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If all of us jumped off the house, we're not going to fall up. Gravity is not going to go, Earl's black, let him go up. But people could make that choice about me, how they want to deal with me, what they want to let me off. So I became uninterested in people's influence and became more like, what can I tap into? What are the laws and rules I can tap into that would work regardless of race, creed, color, age, or sex? Mm-hmm. And that's what started my whole metaphysical new thought path. So if somebody ridicules the fact that you do new thought or you think differently, it doesn't matter. You think I'm going to change everything I teach and everything I've learned and everything I've worked that works for me because somebody makes a comment on my website about how they think I am, who I don't even know? But they do, they act like that's really supposed to change me because they think what I'm doing is crazy. And I'm like going, wow, you're so arrogant. My goodness, you're a little arrogant little thing. You actually think that just because you don't agree with me, I'm supposed to change everything about what I believe that's obviously working for me, or it wouldn't be thousands of videos. But if I talk to that person, I would tell that person, I support you in you going in whatever direction your heart and soul and your belief system is telling you to go. I would never defend my beliefs. I would never defend my beliefs, and I would never try to convince that person of my point of view.
Thank you.
Why? Because I believe it. And because I believe it, I don't have any need to prove it. I don't have any need to defend it.
Right.
You tell me what you defend, and I'll tell you what you don't really believe yourself. You don't defend freedom. You just be free and free others.
Yes. Just be it.
Just be it. If you want to have it, you be it. That's what the Course in Miracles taught me. To be it is to have it. I see mean, separate, selfish-minded people complaining because they don't have a lot of loving, friendly, kind people in their lives. You're not being a loving, kind, friendly person yourself. That's why they're not there. Rocket science, isn't it? Rocket science. If you're the most unfriendly, cold, detached, aloof, critical judgment, anybody that's loving, they are going to avoid you. They're not going to attack you. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to condemn you. They're going to avoid you. And you'll think they're not around. You go, there's no nice people. There's no kind. No, they stay nice and kind by staying away from you. And then all other people like you are drawn to you, and then you're surrounded by people you can't trust, you don't believe in loving, you're suspicious of, and you have a relationship that you hold on to that person till you strangle them to death out of your neediness. And then you attract other people like that. And y'all all fearful together. And then y'all attack each other because you're blaming each other for what you're going through. You see what I'm saying? There is another world. There is another type person in physical bodies that walk in this world that are kind, loving, conscious, take responsibility, they share, they give. You'll never meet them until you become one of them. They don't want to meet people who are like that. They just want to surround them with love, give that person to God, and then ask God, whatever you want me to do for that person, you direct me, but I know if it's you telling me to do it, I'll feel peace about doing it. I won't feel like I'm sacrificing. Wow. Wow. So you could get your favorite car and still be crazy in it. You could get your favorite house and not love yourself enough to enjoy it. Things are not going to make us happy. They're neutral. We can be happy with them. They're not going to make us happy. What's going to make us happy, the Course says, is healing. And healing is a release from fear. Healing is a release from fear. So, I'm going to read this in plain language, using substitutions to make it easier for us to hear it. Take about 10 minutes. You can either use it as a time to tune in and close your eyes, or you could watch me. Read healing as the release from fear. Healing as the release from fear. Our emphasis is now on healing. The miracle, which is a correct perception, is the means for healing. And the atonement, which is the release from fear, is the principle of healing. And healing is the result. To speak of a miracle of healing is to combine two orders of reality inappropriately. Healing is not a miracle. Healing is not a miracle. Healing is not a miracle. The atonement, which is the final correct perception, is a remedy. And any type of healing is a result of the remedy. So, the kind of error to which the remedy is applied is irrelevant. The kind of error to which the miracle is applied is irrelevant. All healing is essentially the release from fear. What? All healing is essentially the release from fear. So to undertake this, You cannot be fearful yourself. If healing is the release from fear, then staying in your fear is not going to heal you. You do not understand healing because of your own fear. You don't understand love because of your own fear. So a major step in the healing plan is to undo error at all levels. Sickness or not right-mindedness. So what is sickness? Not right-mindedness. Sickness is the result of level confusion. Sickness always entails the belief that what is amiss on one level can adversely affect another level. We have referred to miracles, which are correct perceptions, as the means of correcting level confusion. For all mistakes must be corrected at the level on which they occur. All mistakes must be corrected at the level on which they occur. Only the mind is capable of error. Only the mind is capable of error. Only the mind is capable of error. The body can act wrongly only when the body is responding to misthought. The body can act wrongly only when it's responding to misthought. The body cannot create, but the belief that the body can create, that's a fundamental error. The belief that the body can create produces all physical symptoms. The belief that the body can create produces all sickness. Physical illness represents a belief in something that's not true. Physical illness represents a belief in magic. The whole distortion that makes magic rests on the belief that there's a creative ability in matter which the mind cannot control. You think there's some sort of creative ability in matter that your mind cannot control. This error can take two forms. You can believe that the mind can miscreate in the body, or you can believe that the mind can miscreate in the body, or that the body can miscreate in the mind. When it's understood that the mind is the only level of creation, and the mind cannot create beyond mind, neither type of confusion need occur. In other words, only the mind can create because the spirit has already been created. Only the mind can create because spirit has already been created. And the body is a learning device for the mind. The body is a learning device. Woo! Y'all got some fine learning devices out there. Some nice learning devices. Yeah, stop putting your learning device down. Stop judging and condemning your bodies. The Course says the body is a learning device for the mind. Learning devices such as the body are not lessons in themselves. The purpose of a learning device or a body is merely to facilitate learning. The worst a faulty use of a body, the worst a faulty use of a learning device can do is to fail to facilitate learning. Your body has no power in itself to introduce actual learning errors. The body, if properly understood, shares the invulnerability of the release from guilt of the healing to two-edged application. This is not because the body is a miracle, but the body is not inherently open to misinterpretation. The body is merely part of your experience in the physical world. The body is merely part of your experience in the physical world. Those who deny the body are engaging in a particularly unworthy form of denial. Those who deny the body are engaging in a particularly unworthy form of denial. The term unworthy here implies only that it's not necessary to protect your mind by denying the body. It's not necessary to protect your mind by denying the unmindful. If you deny this unfortunate aspect of your mind's power to make a body, you're also denying the power of the mind. All material means, all medicines, all external healing things that you accept as remedies for bodily ills are just restatements of magic principles. But this is the first step in believing that the body makes its own illness. It is a second mistake to attempt to heal the body through non-creative agents. It doesn't follow, however, that the use of medicines, that the use of external healing methods is evil. It's not. Sometimes the illness, sometimes the sickness, sometimes the upset has a sufficiently strong hold over your mind as to render you temporarily inaccessible to the real healing, the undoing of guilt, the atonement. In this case, when whatever it is has such a strong hold over your mind that you can't heal it, it would be wise to utilize a compromise approach to mind and body. What would that be? Something from the outside is temporarily given healing belief. Temporarily believe that the answer is outside when you're at that point that your beliefs have such a hold over you that you're not able to just heal yourself mentally. Why? Well, this is because the last thing that can help the non-right-minded, the last thing that can help the sick is an increase in fear. You're never helping somebody when you increase their fear. You're never helping anyone when you increase their fear. The last thing a person that's sick or unhappy or broke or lacking needs is more fear. That kind of explains what's happening in the world. Because what we're seeing is an increase in fear. What we're seeing is an increase in separation and fear, but we're also seeing a big increase in love entering. That's what most people don't realize, that when love enters, everything that is not love comes up for healing. And that's what's happening in the world right now. Everything that is coming up for healing, and is coming up for healing because love is entering this world. And this is likely to occur. It says they're already in a fear-weakened state. So if a person that's sick or non-right-minded are prematurely exposed to a miracle, which is a right thought, a true thought, they may be precipitated into panic. Somebody that's deep into fear and unworthiness and guilt, when you come at them and you're coming at them in a happy, joyous, loving way, you may scare the hell out of them. You may bring up every fear that they have. This is likely to occur when upside down perception has induced the belief that miracles are frightening. When your mind is full of fear, the Course says you actually believe that love is frightening, that the truth is frightening. So, the value of the release from fear, which is the atonement, does not lie in the manner in which the healing is expressed. In fact, if the truth is used truly, the truth will inevitably be expressed in whatever way is most helpful to the receiver. This means that for a miracle, for a healing, for a right perception to attain its full efficacy, that right perception, that truth must be expressed in a language that the recipient can understand without fear. The truth has to come to you in a way that you can receive it without fear. And this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the highest level of communication of which you are capable. It does mean, however, that you're receiving the truth at the highest level of communication of which you are capable right now. The whole aim of the miracle, the whole aim of a true perception, the whole aim of a right perception is to raise the level of communication, not to lower the level of communication and joining by, how do you lower the level of joining? How do you lower the level of communication? You lower it by increasing fear. So that really just described to us exactly how we should deal with all of our relationships, not just at a spiritual level. So when I went through that, what were some of the things that went through any of your minds? Please share. Anybody?
It's important to clean up your side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be the light, be
Mm-hmm.
friendly, be loving, and if they can't handle it, your side of the street is good.
Right. Yeah. Which reminds me, the Course in Miracles says that the primary responsibility of the miracle worker, the person that's going to heal or be an instrument of truth, is to accept the truth for themselves. So when I'm studying this, I'm not thinking about how I can get everybody else to accept it. I'm working on how I can get rid of the blocks to me accepting it. So I'm not listening to this from the perspective of converting you, right? I'm listening to this from the perspective of how can I apply this to me.
So Michelle said one of the things that struck her was changing the meaning of things changes her emotional response to them.
That's right. That's right. And all of us can change our meanings because you believe the way you believe now because that was a meaning you were given that you've accepted over and over and over and over and over again. So that's why when I'm talking to a person, in most cases, I'm not talking to that person. I'm just talking to the program. Do y'all get what I'm saying? When we talk to each other, we think we're talking to the person, but all I'm really talking to is all of your past experiences and learnings. That's who I'm talking to. And I'm talking to whoever society told you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to value. The real you is beyond all of that. That's who I really want to get to. I don't want to get to know the you that was programmed by the world. I want to get to know the you that's behind the program. But that's not going to happen if you're afraid of me, and I'm afraid of you, because what did it just say? It says that fear lowers communication and it lowers joining. So there's no such thing as you're going to attack your partner and go off on your partner all the time and think it's going to make you all have more open, honest communication and joining with each other. One of the dumbest beliefs the Course has taught me that we have is that attack makes friends. So that's one of the stupidest beliefs that we get, is that you think you can attack me and go off on me, and that's going to make me feel closer to you. But I used to do it because I used to have relationships with people who were equal with me in guilt. And so therefore, if I could make them feel guilty enough, they would try to make it up to me, and they would try to do what I wanted them to do. Y'all familiar with that one? Yes. And then you would think that worked. So then you would think the way to deal with that partner or your friends or whoever was to always let everybody know how much they are upsetting you. And so that's what people in the world do. They're always pissed off about something, upset at somebody, something that somebody else ought to be doing to make them happy. As if everybody was born to serve you. Somebody else. Yes, Megan.
It's just bringing to light, like, how many times I try to solve the problem with the problem. So, it's like,
Yes.
For example, and I think I can even do it, like, and use even A Course in Miracles to justify it sometimes, like with sickness of the body or something like that, then I can give myself grief over the sickness of the body because I know it's coming from my mind. And it's like, here it's saying, yes, it's coming from the mind, but we're not going to help it by increasing fear or increasing anger or increasing guilt. And so it's like, the answer to that is love. So even the awareness of it's coming from me, if I use that as a means of hurting myself, that's just another trick of the ego.
Right.
Using spirituality to keep me stuck.
That's right. And when we say ego, we mean the false self, the part of us that's afraid and guilty and thinks it's separate from each other.
Yeah, lowercase self.
Yeah, I like to say the part of us with the social security number.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about. That's the one I'm talking about. Because it's a difference between taking responsibility for your feelings and blaming yourself. And the difference is the way you feel. If I'm taking responsibility for what I'm experiencing in my life right now, I can tell if I'm truly taking responsibility because number one, I feel like I have options, so I don't feel trapped. Also, if I'm really taking responsibility, then I feel lighter.
Yes.
But if I'm saying I'm the one that's doing this and I know I'm creating this, and you beating yourself up when you say that, you can tell it by the way you're saying you're not taking responsibility, you're blaming yourself. Because if you were really taking responsibility, you would feel like you could change it. And it could be different, and you wouldn't have to be trapped. So if you're running around going, I'm doing it to myself, I know I'm doing this to myself, well then it means you are not taking responsibility. You're just attacking yourself, which is the old ego belief that punishment is correction. So if I attack myself and punish myself somehow or another, then things are going to get better. So I'm saying, oh my God, I'm doing it to myself.
I love this particular verse where it says the value of the atonement or the healing does not lie in the manner in which it is expressed. And, you know, Course in Miracles says, you know, there's no level of difficulty in miracles, right? But what this says to me is, if my foot hurts and I take aspirin and the pain goes away, if my foot hurts and I meditate and the pain goes away, if my foot hurts and I go to the doctor and the pain goes away, any and every one of those is okay. It's the healing. It doesn't matter how the healing comes.
That's right. That's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
That the manner in which it happens isn't more important than your willingness to be healed.
But I might think, but we have a tendency in our world, in some of our spheres, to believe that if I do it the spiritual way, it's the better way.
Right. And then we
And
all
that's not
have
true.
and then we all have our own idea of what doing it the spiritual way means, which is usually rampantly boring. Okay. Because it's thou shalt not. It's all knots.
I want to be naughty then.
Yeah. Yes. I've already been very naughty. I've already done naughty. Anybody else before I hit Trudy?
All healing is essentially the release from fear.
Did you hear that? All healing is essentially the release from fear.
Which makes me think of Jesus saying, you are healed according to your faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get ill, it feels to me like if I could evaluate or get into those things that might be fearful in me, that I might find a conclusion that helps me.
In other words, if I am willing to see it another way. See, the Course in Miracles is a text that gives you the theoretical foundation of the whole material. And then there's a workbook. And the purpose of the workbook is to teach you how to apply the principles in your everyday life. I'll say it again. The purpose of the workbook is for you to learn how to take this from something that's just a mind game to how do I apply this on Thanksgiving? Okay? How do I apply this with my partner? How do I apply this on my job? So it's not just, I came to another spiritual class and I walk right out of here and I do everything the way I've always done it. So if you can't really be a sincere Course in Miracles student and say you want to learn the curriculum and don't do the workbook, doesn't mean you can't benefit from reading it or coming to a class or any of that. But if you really want the joy and the peace and the miracles that it promises, you have to learn new ways of looking at things. And what's so beautiful about it is you don't have to make that up. The other way of interpreting is right in front of you. All you have to do is start using it. And it says, if you use it, you'll see that it works. Right? So that's how you can tell whether or not you really want something. If you say you want something and you won't do what it takes to have it, you're BSing yourself. So you can sit up here all day long and say you really want a more peaceful life, you want more prosperity, you want more love. But if you don't do one thing different that's a symbolic gesture to show that you're willing to do it, then you're just kidding yourself. But you know what's so cool about it? There's a limit to pain, so sooner or later you're going to reach your limit, and the Course says you're going to say there must be a better way, and you're going to go for it. Some people's tolerance for pain blows my mind. Some people will tell you their stories, and they'll tell you the hell that they're going through, and it's constant, and it's drama, and then you'll say, well, Well, there's another way that you could look at this that could make things better. And they'll spend most of their time defending how they already are to keep it that way.
They'll say this is how it's always been done and it's always worked,
Just-
so why do I want to change it?
Yeah, and
that's
what's
like,
really
it's
funny is
really
like this is the way it's always been done and it's always not
Not
worked.
worked.
And that's what I'm
Right.
saying, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm seeing that it's not working though.
Yeah,
And they're
right.
saying, no, it's always worked.
Yeah,
Done it
yeah,
this way.
it's amazing. And so what you do is you realize that the same power that's waking you up, you're not so special that that same power isn't with them doing what? Working with them. But what? That power is moving as slow as it has to, because what did it just tell us? That love does not try to increase your fear. That the truth is going to come to your cousins, to your friends, to your lovers, to your partners at the level and in the way that they can receive it. And so therefore, they may be moving a lot slower than you appear to be moving, but they are also being aided and supported just as much as you are, because love, God, the Creator, loves all of us equally, but doesn't use the same approach to all of us, because no sane person uses the same approach to every person. That's how you know you crazy. It's when you try to use the exact same approach with your kid that you use with, you can have the same principles that you're using. You can have the same goal with everybody, but you're not going to use the same approach to everybody, because if your goal is for them to hear you, then they need to not fear you. If you want people to hear you, they need to not fear you. If you want people to hear you, they need to not fear you. So I'm going to talk to you about fishing. If that's what we can talk about, and we can talk peacefully with each other, whether then you're not a body, you're free. That's a magic principle. I'm not going to talk Course in Miracles to somebody who that would only frighten. You see what I'm saying? What you do is you look for how you can decrease the fear, which will increase the communication and increase the joining. And then you'll have a great time together, because they're going to learn to love themselves unconditionally, just like you're learning to love yourself unconditionally. Each and every one of us have guides that are invisible, that are with us, that if we take the time to establish the relationship, we would know that's true. But if you don't believe it and you don't accept it, you won't see it, because perception follows belief. So if you believe this is all crap and it doesn't make any sense, it won't to you.
Right.
And you have every reason why it doesn't, if you want to hang on to the way you already see it. But what this is saying to us, and I'm going to wrap this up in a minute, there's a couple of things that I want to make sure that I say back to you. The body is a learning device.
Right.
That was a very powerful statement. You are not your bodies. You have bodies. But your body is the way that you're hearing this right now. Your body is a learning device. Your body is a learning device. So your body isn't making any decisions about what you're doing with it. So it's no point in blaming your body for nothing.
Right.
Your body did not make you do it. You made your body do it.
Right.
And then you go, oh, my body made me do it. I just couldn't help myself. Your body did not. If I wanted to walk across this room right now, my body would not go, you can't. My body is neutral. It's going to do whatever I want it to do. And there's only two reasons that you can use your body according to the Course. You can use it for love, and you can use it for fear. You can use it for separation, and you can use it for joining. Right? Then the other thing that is said that's really powerful is that stop judging and stop trying to deny the body's existence in this world. Stop trying to stop pretending that you believe that you're not a body. You do believe you're a body. That's why you ate this morning. That's why you're going to pee several times a day. That's why you're going to do everything. You're not going to wait 5 days for your next meal because you think your body's an illusion and it's not real. You know you're not. You do think you're a body. But you're not. It's a learning device. It's the way that we can join with each other. And the Course says it, while our vision of each other is still so dim, temporarily love has to be expressed through one body to another body. So if we're going to be loving to each other, we're going to be loving to each other through our bodies. I'm talking to you saying I want to connect with you in a loving way through this body. So God is no more real to us than we are loving to each other. That's why when somebody does something good to a person, they'll go, thank you, God. You go, no, I'm the one that just gave you the lift. No, you know what I'm talking about. Something good happened. You go, thank you, God. But it came through a person. So if we're going to see the love of God in this world, if we're going to experience anything better than the fear we're looking at, it ain't going to be waiting for somebody to drop out of a cloud. It's going to be us allowing that love to function through us. And that's an easier life than the other one. Don't you think for a second being loving is harder than being full of anger, fear, guilt, and grievances that we are dealing with right now? It's not. It's not. It's much easier. It's much easier being with friends who take responsibility for themselves, that want to be kind, than when I had friends who, well, the way I used to be too, was the victim consciousness, blaming everybody else for everything. Don't you think for a second that the sane person isn't more sexy than the insane one? You want the loving you can have, not the loving you got to chase.
Right.
That's the universe telling you rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. It's no accident they just called the police to get you away from them. Somebody that loves you moves towards you. Somebody that fears you moves away. It's that simple. You'll never have to seduce somebody you love. You seduce them after you know you're going to get them. It's more fun. I know you want me. I know I want you. We both in agreement with that. Yeah, we can do the dance. We can go out. We can travel. We can do the whole little dance. And so it'll be fun because we want to be together.
Right.
But the person that doesn't love themselves, they are busy trying to get the unavailable person. They're busy trying to get who's not there. They're busy trying to get the person who is not loving them. You've been there, I've been there, and we know people that are there. You know I'm telling the truth. You'll be like you're addicted to them or something. I don't know why. I know she's not good for me, but I just gotta have her. That's fear.
That's insanity.
That's insanity. That's crazy. No, I like a challenge. And then there's the other point that I want to hit from this section. There's so many in here that's so beautiful. It says that it's not your body that's making you sick. It's not the physical condition that's making you sick or unhappy. And that it's okay to do whatever you need to do on the external level in order to have that healing when you know you don't believe and have enough faith yourself to just change your mind and watch that situation heal. So do not feel like there's anything wrong with taking classes, workshops, reading, medicine, going to the hospital. Not whatever is in the world to be used, that could be used to get you out of fear. You should do it because the only enemy is fear. You with me? But the Course promises that one day, though, you'll be able to say, God, I have no more use for this pain. He said it'd be gone. So, just like that. I have been trying to convince myself that I'm a body through foot pain. Now, the whole time I've been standing up here, I haven't felt any.
Amen.
Why? Because I'm using my body for love. I'm using my body for truth. I'm using my body to join. Now, as soon as the class is over, it's probably coming back. You probably thinking, all I got to do is keep on giving myself the truth. Just don't, he says that fear and anger and upset comes in the gap in the love.
Turn us into a workshop today.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You know, so I'm telling you that the pain and conflict is coming in the gaps in your love. It's where you give love, and then for whatever reason, you create a gap in it. And you're not giving love. He says, well, in that gap comes your anger, your guilt, your sickness, your lack, and all the upsets that you're going through. They're in your gaps of love. And if you're a person that you tend to not trust strangers, and I'm the most suspicious stranger of all because I'm talking love. So I know the temptation of somebody that's hearing me for the first time is to check me out hard. Because I'm saying you deserve to be loved, you deserve to be happy, you're a powerful being, you need to have people around you that's friendly. That's really somebody suspicious. Right? The person that's being overly nice is the one you get the most suspicious of, right? Think about it. If you'll be honest and get out of denial. The person that comes on really strong and kind and nice is the main man. You go, okay, just back up here. Just let me check you out. We don't rush toward kind people. We wonder if they have an agenda. Because we have agendas when we're kind. And so I think you're just doing me. I'm using the kindness to people I want to get something from. So if you're being kind to me, what do you want? Because that's the way I am. That's why I'm suspicious of you. I don't want nobody like me. This is so funny. It's so funny. You think about it. You're doing what I do, so I certainly can't trust you. I have an agenda, so I know you got one. You couldn't actually just be saying this and just really want to join in peace and love and harmony. Woo! Lord have mercy. So, realize you need to pay attention and watch the people that you're joining with so that you don't increase their fear by listening. By listening. And so the last paragraph says that if the truth that you're communicating with somebody is going to be fully effective, it's got to be expressed in a language that they can understand without fear. That's not the highest level that they're ultimately able to communicate on, but right now that might be the highest level they can communicate on. So when you're with your friends and relatives and partners this holiday and this week, communicate with them on the level that you can communicate with them that decreases fear, increases joining, and you need to suggest to all of them, put a sign up on the wall, don't discuss religion or politics.
Unless you can do it without fear.
Yes. Sex might be all right. It's not usually as polarizing as talking politics and religion can be. And then you'll know the ones you can have a conversation with, that y'all are willing to have different points of view and still love each other. My best friend and I couldn't have had more different religious, spiritual beliefs, never had an argument in 50 years of friendship. Because we always respected each other and we knew we loved each other. Love will trump all of the intellectual communication that you're trying to have with people. People who love you, they will accept you, even if you're different. But if you're just trying to join with people intellectually, you'll always be debating and arguing. Love these people. Appreciate these people. Let these people know how much you value them. And that will decrease the fear, and you will be helping their illnesses or diseases or lacks or anything they got going on in their body right now. You love your aunt, don't increase her fear. And if she's sick, be part of her healing through the way that you're seeing her. All right, let's acknowledge ourselves for hearing this much Holy Spirit. Woo! Woo! I'm telling you. Thank you. I'm going to do one quick thing before we run out. But right now, let's do the love offering. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Those of you online, would you please know how much I love and how much I appreciate you? And if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy.com. This is what I do in the world. It was my calling, and so I want to thank those of you who see value in it enough to support my teaching ministry so that we can continue to put this word out here. You all are blessings in my life. You're blessings in my life, regardless of what you share, regardless of what you don't share, because I'm sustained by the love of God. Ultimately, we all are. So thank you so much who see value. Just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, or you can use Venmo. And my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com.
You're not doing this week, right? Thursday.
Yeah, there will not be. The reason I usually put that stuff so much on the recording because it's going to be like irrelevant 2 weeks from now. But yeah, there won't be a Thursday night Facebook Live. And so, but there are ridiculous amounts of videos that people can watch if they want to for free. So it's never like it's not anything that you can watch if you want to. And so I'm available for one-on-one personal sessions called Clarity Sessions. where I use my 40 years of experience with astrology and numerology and my almost 40 years of teaching and learning the Course in Miracles. And I show you how to apply that to personal situations and circumstances in your life so that you can have that change that we've been talking about. So if you're interested in that, you go to my website, earlpurdy.com. You can even self-book an appointment with me there. There are no original problems. There are no original problems. There's not one thing that's original about what we think our challenges are. But what is different is when a person says, I've had enough, and now I'm really ready to look at it another way. That's the thing that's going to be different. That's why sometimes the best time to counsel with people is when they're most unhappy. Because they want out of the pain. Sometimes when people are sort of happy, or things are going pretty good, which means it's going the way that I want it to go, then they're much less likely to want to get any kind of support or counseling, because their dream is, their fantasy is going the way they think they want it to go right now. And so what you want is real love. You want a love that you can count on no matter what. You want a connection you can always count on, not because you're fulfilling somebody's script and in that moment they're all in your corner because you are doing everything you can to make it the way they want to make it. But the odd part about it is when you're with someone you love, then you actually want to give. So nobody loses because you really want to give to them. You want them to be happy. You want to do whatever it is you could be a channel for love and happiness with. And the people who don't feel that way, they will leave voluntarily. You'll find that to be true too. They'll just leave. So I want to thank you for letting yourself hear this today. And the Facebook Lives are at 7 o'clock p.m. on Mountain Time, Thursdays. And then we have our 1 o'clock p.m. Course in Miracles, Mountain Time. And you can see it on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. Earl Purdy, the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. So even if you're not here, you can still watch the live broadcast. Even if you don't have a Facebook account, you can still watch the live broadcast. You just go to facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. So even if you don't have a Facebook account, you can still watch the presentations. The truth is trying to get to us every kind of way that it can. And the Course promises that Spirit will send to you the people who need you the way you are, at their level of understanding. So somebody sent to me by Spirit is not going to be somebody that's telling me to change. They're going to say something like, the way you do it is so helpful to me, I can really relate to the way it's coming through you. And that's the way it would be in your love life too. It would be a partner that would go, the way you are is so cool, it's so inspiring to me, I feel better as a result of being in your presence. They wouldn't be the ones that's constantly saying, if you were different, I'd be happy. 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 That's not somebody that's coming to you from love. That's somebody coming to you from your judgment of yourself, not feeling good about yourself, and then they're reflecting back to you that you're not okay with you. That's why they're not okay with you. But have you seen their butt? So going into Thanksgiving, this is what we're going to say for 1 minute. Let miracles replace all grievances. Let miracles replace all grievances. Say it with me. Let miracles replace all grievances. What? Let miracles replace all grievances. 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 And healing is the release from fear. So healing is the release from fear. Healing is the release from fear. Healing is the release from fear. So if there's a physical situation in your life, an emotional situation in your life, any kind of area that you're experiencing challenge right now, then you want to put yourself in states of mind, and you want to put yourself around people who, when you're with them, you feel nurtured, you feel appreciated, and you don't feel afraid to express who you are. Whenever you're around people that you don't feel afraid to express who you are and you feel safe, you are healing. Seek those people out. 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 Right? Let's give it up. Hugs are available, and CJ wants to make a quick announcement to everybody before we rush out to the love that's waiting for us.